managed this week? I heard from, I know from Yonita, she's spoken, and Laurel. Tristan, you good? Tracy, you good? Others, how are you going? People in my room, how are you going this week? Do you get through the material? Sam, you good? Anyone else? Some of you are remarkably quiet. Merle and Moira, are you guys good?
I've been a bit under the weather.
Sure.
I'm booked off until until Thursday. So I might not be very vocal tonight, but I'm here.
Oh, but it's well done for being here. Sure. We appreciate that. Wow. Moira, haven't heard from you.
Yes, all fine. Thanks, Jackie. Finding it quite overwhelming in a lot of ways. I don't know. There's quite a lot to remember. And yeah, I find that, there's a lot of content that you've got to try and remember, but the quizzes are reasonably easy, so
No, that's fabulous. Oh, I think somebody else is joining. No. Oh, there we are. Tristan says his mic's not working tonight. So, Tristan, you're going to have to just listen in. Sorry about that. Moira, I think it's one of those things that the more you do it, the more natural it will become. So it's the theory probably is quite a lot, but it's a matter of actually just practicing it. And we're hoping that today that's what we're going to do a whole bunch of, is actually just practice it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we did this week is, so we looked at, just looking at what the title of session 9 was, generative moments, and then your first counseling, your first coaching session. So to start us off, we're actually going to be working with these sheets. Can you see these sheets? Does everyone have their copy? So we're going to be doing going to be pairing up.
Could you just show that that sheet to me again?
Sure. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what it's called?
It was the client information sheet. The client info sheet.
Thanks.
With a little picture on. Then there was the one that said the walk-in. There were 3 that I sent out, those 3 PDFs. If you can have those. What we're going to do is we're going to be pairing up and we're going to be doing a first initial session with someone. So I want you to kind of think through a couple of things. The first thing we need to do is you need to be preparing yourself before you go into a session. If you can't go into a session, if you've had a crazy day and you've just been running, or you've just seen somebody else, or you've just had a fight with your boss, whatever might be happening in your world, you actually have to put that aside and clear yourself, clear your head, clear your mind in order to get ready for a session. So how would you do that personally? What sort of things would you do that would help you prepare yourself to meet with someone? Anyone? Tracy?
Some silent time, refocusing and clearing your head.
Okay, I like that. So a little bit of silence, time to clear your head. Okay, Laurel?
I think for me, just to get my head in the zone, I'd probably just read over any completed assessments that my client has done, just to get my mind frame into what they or where they're at. And then also just to kind of center myself, just get into a quiet space, breathe a little bit. Just so that my mind is thinking about my clients already before I go into the session.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Laurel. Anyone here in the room? How would you prepare yourself before you go into a session? Anyone? Yeah.
I would pray about it.
Okay.
Just pray to sort of clear my mind and leave my daily mind, help me focus on it. pray that the other person comes quite ready and emotionally available.
Okay. Awesome. So from the floor here, we have someone who said they will pray before they go into the session to put all their stuff aside, to put their day aside, to be able to focus, and to be praying for the person who's coming into your space, that they're emotionally ready to meet and all of that. I love that. Thank you. Anyone else? Floor or here? I remember in the last 2 weeks, just before we broke into groups, Nick did a centering exercise with you. Do you remember that? You put your feet on the floor. You took some deep breaths. Do you remember that? Yes, got some. Yes. You remember that? Okay, so that's a really good example of a centering exercise to just kind of quiet up. Quieten yourself, get yourself ready for going into a session. I think for us who are meeting with young pregnant moms, praying for them is absolutely the right mode to go in. I whenever I go into a counseling space, I have this moment in the car always where I stop and I speak to God, and there's the concept of hand and glove. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but you kind of say to Jesus, I'll be the glove, you be the hand kind of concept. Just, like I want to go in with your eyes and seeing with your eyes, hearing with your ears. And so can you go in with me? And in many ways, it's a form of emptying myself. Like, I don't want this to be about me. I want to be able to focus on the other person fully. And so I ask for help with that. Okay. For those of you going into the pregnancy crisis, but even for those of you just becoming life coaches, because you could be encountering pregnancy as one of the cases that you would encounter, what sort of state do you think the person coming into your space will be in? Sam?
The first word that comes to mind is frenetic.
Okay.
But I mean, so I imagine they would be distressed, depressed, anxious, sad. I don't know, there would be a lot of emotions that they could be displaying, but maybe desperate, perhaps, is a term to use.
Okay. Frenetic, desperate, lots of emotions. Anyone else? Yeah. Confused from the floor here? Anyone else? Overwhelmed? Ladies, if you just found out you were pregnant and it wasn't planned, okay, we've got shocked. Moira? You're still muted, hey, Moira?
Panicked.
Yeah. Panicked. Okay, panicked.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? Scared, I think, is a good one. Anyone else? So I think it's really important to understand the space that the person's coming in with. And to make sure that when you go into the space that you take your peace in, not your chaos in, but you take your peace into that space. Does that make sense? All right. So then how do we start? Okay. The forms that I've given you are an example. They're not the exact forms that we'll be using, but they're an example of the kind of forms, especially for a pregnancy crisis center, that you might be using. So the first thing when somebody comes in, the first thing that you're wanting to know is, who are you? Who are you and who am I? So you need to have a way of building rapport with the client quite quickly, sort of connecting with them, finding out who they are, letting them know exactly who you are and what you'll be doing with them. You then go into the why. So why have you come here? Why have you arrived? You get a bit of their story. And all of this you can do while filling in those forms, because those forms kind of give you the right kind of questions to find out the who and the why. And then finally, you kind of go, okay, where to from here? So what is the plan of action going forward? And all of that can be accomplished by working through that form with them. What could be a danger of working through a form with them in the first session?
eye contact with the person.
Okay, so we've got here, you lose eye contact with them. Laurel?
I don't know if this is right, but it may feel a little bit clinical. And so
Okay.
it would be a little bit more difficult to feel a rapport.
Absolutely. So it could just become like a quiz. So they come in and you just start quizzing them or interviewing them. And that's absolutely not the kind of vibe that you want them to be having. Any other thoughts? If you just sit and fill in a form, what could the dangers be?
Maybe the conversation becomes too rigid. So you become focused on asking these questions and getting these answers that it doesn't naturally flow in a direction that
Okay, brilliant. So what was being said here is that the conversation can become too rigid. Instead of allowing the client to lead the conversation and following them in the conversation, you become obsessed with getting through the right questions and making sure you tick all the boxes. That's absolutely a danger. Tracy, I see your hand as well. You are muted. There we are.
Okay, so you would be detached from the client.
Okay. So if you become too focused on a piece of paper, you become detached from the client.
Yes.
Okay. Merle, hi.
I think you could. I think that a person can be coming in for one reason, or be thinking they're coming in for one reason, but there might be something sort of hidden in plain sight, which, if you solely guided by your assessment, you might not get to do by asking clearer questions.
Okay, that's so brilliant. So you can assume that they're coming in for one thing, and actually they're coming in for something different, but because you've got your form, and I think that comes with the rigidness of being stuck to the form. If you simply stick to the form and you don't actually build rapport and you don't actually enable conversation to flow, you could assume that they're coming in for one thing and actually they're wanting to talk about something completely different. Absolutely. Okay. Once you've finished the session, you have to realize that you're not going to fix the problem in one session. Okay? That's not the goal of the session. You're not going to solve their problem. You're probably not even going to take too many steps towards that in the first session. How does that make you feel? What would the dangers of that be? Sam?
Setting unrealistic expectations for the outcome of the session.
Okay. So if you're expecting to be this amazing savior and come in and save this person in the first session, you've got a very unrealistic expectation for the session. The person as well who's coming and meeting with you may have an unrealistic expectation that you're going to be solving their problem. Any other thoughts? There could be a situation where a young pregnant mom comes in, you do the forms, you have the conversation with her, she goes, and we never hear from her again. How do you feel about that? Okay, there's some disappointment maybe. Any other thoughts? Moira?
I think you'd be very concerned about where she's going to end up, and what the future holds for her.
Okay, so concern for her. Interesting. Okay. Other thoughts? Yeah.
Maybe lessons learned.
Okay. Tell me more.
Can do some recap and see where did I go wrong and where can I go better.
Okay, so what was said here is, so you can learn some lessons. Where did I go wrong, or how can I do something better? Do you think the reason they haven't come back is because of you?
Can be.
Okay, so it can be.
Just not gel.
Okay, you could also just not gel with the person. Okay.
Can be culture differences.
Okay, it could be a difference in culture. different expectations. The reality is we need to make peace with ourselves once the session is done. Because if we're carrying concern and fear and disappointment with us, we're going to be highly ineffective the next time that we counsel someone. Okay. Hi, Nick.
Could I interrupt? I often tell my students when I'm lecturing about something that was told to me by one of my lecturers, and that is that the true test that will arise, maybe not as a life coach, but as a therapist, but you can apply the principles, is that you'll see somebody for a session and they will go home and they'll kill themselves. And you will feel a range of emotions. And, you know, we scoff it off quite a lot. And I remember the first time it happened. And the range of emotions is so strong that, number one, you're concerned, you're worried, you're stressed, you're invested in the person, and you want what's best for them. And a very good thing to keep in mind is that they bring 80% of the session. So if you're ever going to reflect on yourself and your contribution, allow it to be 20% if you have followed all the steps, and allow that to be the guilt you carry. It is also quite important to wrap off the session properly. So just like you prepare yourself mentally to start a session, the closing of the session comes with this complete acceptance that it is their journey and their path. And I think that's a good habit to get into, is to breathe with them and to end it there, knowing that nothing is left unsaid at the end of it.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to practice this. So we're going to put you in rooms of 2. I'm just busy setting them up. And I want you to, in fact, Nick, will you take them through a grounding exercise before while I sort out the rooms? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Are you happy to do that?
Right. Yeah, sure.
Okay, wait, let me just
Do you want
explain
this
then
to
the
be a grounding exercise that they do with each other, or are we all doing it together before we go into the room?
This is before we've gone into the session. So
Okay, perfect.
Before we go into the session. Once you then, you'll then be paired off into your rooms. I'm going to be giving you 10 minutes. So 5 minutes each side. I want you to start a conversation. I want you to imagine this is a person who's just walked in and you've got your form. I want you to introduce yourself, find out a little bit about them, maybe fill in 1 or 2 questions on the forms. And then once you've done, in fact, I'm going to ask you to just do sort of the name, the age, the marriage, just this first little section at the top of your form here, right? Once you've done that, I want you to wrap up the session. You've also got the confidentiality form. If you look at the form number, the one that says Pregnancy Help Center, this one. Okay. I want you to talk them through the limitation of services. So do you want to just take a minute and quickly just read through that and what that says? Tristan, hi.
His mic isn't working.
I know. Are you going to?
He sent something in the chat just asking how he's going to do it, if he must type in the chat.
Yeah. Whoever is with Tristan, he's going to be, can chat work in breakout rooms, Nick? Does it work between 2 people?
That is such a good question. I do not know.
Tristan, you can try find that out
Try.
and let us know.
Could I add a level of complexity to this assignment? All right.
Perfect.
Extra points if you're not outrightly asking any of the questions.
Do you understand that? Do you want to explain a little bit?
So instead of
We've got
saying,
the horrified faces.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to move away from putting the form between us and the client, right? We don't want that barrier. So instead of saying, what is your marital status? Are you divorced, single, widowed, up for grabs? What's your status? You're rather going to say something along the lines of, tell me about your family life. Are you with someone? That type of thing where you're not asking outrightly, you're keeping a conversation going whilst gleaning this information, because then you can build rapport and answer your questions at the same time. Just try it, see if you can get into that type of flow. Not everyone can, and it depends on who you have with you also, but give it a shot. It's a good practice in a safe space.
Okay. Nick, does everyone understand the assignment? Is everyone good? Mel?
Sorry, Jackie, I haven't been able to download all the information. The last thing I was able to download was the Wheel of Life. So
Okay.
unfortunately, I might need to sit out on this. I don't want to compromise whoever I'm with.
Okay. So Mel, what you're just going to do is you're just going to find out basic information from the person. So name, age, marital status, just the basics of any information form.
Okay.
So that's really all you're going to be doing with them. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if you
Jackie,
can just do
are
that.
we discussing the confidentiality also with it? Like what is said here stays here, all of that? Is this in this exercise or not really?
We can. I hadn't. Mel's just left us. We can. Do you want to explain that?
Okay. I think it's quite important before we get to end. There's a few things that must be mentioned at the beginning of every session. All right. Number one, it is who am I? What is my role? And that role is I'm here to support you, but you make the ultimate end decision. Right? I'm here not to guide you, but to be a whiteboard for you to plan along with. Number two is whatever is said here remains here. I, as a therapist or as a counselor, or as a life coach, will not share this information with anyone. If you choose to share it, I cannot deny or confirm any information you give. As soon as you leave here, basically, my brain is wiped clean. Think Catholic priest. Also, you want to explain to them that the only time you will break that confidentiality is if they're a risk to themselves or to others. So any of the sides will result in you having to break confidentiality. Homicide, suicide, any of those, as well as the crime. So it's good to mention that early before somebody tells you, because once somebody's come out and blurted something to you, you're now in this tough position, and consent cannot then, you can't then force secrecy. So try and do that also. That's part of confidentiality. Sorry, Jackie, I'm done interrupting for a while.
Oh, that's perfect. That is in the form that I've just asked you to read. So it's just being absolutely direct. Yanita, you're up.
Sorry, yeah, just a question, the confidentiality, do you need to do that at every single session or just at the first session?
First session.
Just the first session, perfect. I thought so. Thank you.
Okay, Nick, do you want to lead us, unless anyone else has questions, do you want to lead us in a grounding?
Great, let's do it. So wherever we are, we just put our feet flat on the floor, put our hands on our laps. We close our eyes, we settle into the base of our seat. Start breathing through our nose. Very long breath in, a longer breath out. Feel your stomach expand. Notice your body starting at your feet, quickly scanning your way up to the top of your head. Where's there tension? Are your shoulders relaxed? Breathe into any tension you might find. Make sure your head is balancing on your neck. Accept that now we are just being. This is a sacred space. It's a closed off space. We are just existing. Sitting relaxed. One more deep breath. Rotate your shoulders a bit. Come back into the space. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And then begin to sleep.
Thank you. I'm going to set up the rooms. Nick, just
Hello.
so you know, Lorette is with us because she's only listening in tonight. She's really not well. So that's why she's in here with us.
Okay, cool. Lorette, if you want to gossip with me, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, take a chance, rest your throat a little bit. And good that you're here anyway.
Nick, I'm just popping into some of the rooms and just checking that they're okay.
Okay, great. Is that a subtle hint for me to also pop into rooms and check that they're okay?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh,
My
okay.
people are going
Okay.
well here. So I'm just going to quickly check on them all, just in case you keep seeing me disappear. That's why.
Okay, no problem.
Janita? Oh my word.
Hi there.
Janita?
Sorry.
Hi. I think I've lost Janita.
In a serious way, or she's out of the room?
I think I lost contact for a while and I don't know where she is.
Oh, okay. So not in, you didn't shock her to death.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no.
she's not in here, so she might have lost connection and just completely dropped off the call. I
Okay.
think that's possibly what happened.
I feel quite bad now.
Did you say something offensive? Like a shut off the
No,
computer?
no, I didn't. But you see, because I don't have all the information, so she was guiding me through it, and then I've just lost her, and she's going to think I was avoiding her, that she said something offensive.
What did she?
No,
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm sure she's dropped the call because usually if she leaves the room, she would pop back in.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
But if she
I'm so
reconnect to the call, she'll be directed back to your room
okay.
automatically.
Thank
There's
you.
no escaping you, Mel. There's no escaping you in this session.
Thank you, Nick.
Perfect. Chippo and Snazzo, have you guys done your session?
Yes, we are done.
Yes.
Ah, great. Great. Okay, great. How was it for you?
It was great. We got to know each other very informally in a very relaxed, I think, manner or way, where
Okay.
everything wasn't just so straightforward. The minute I started asking her the first question, it led to her sharing, and we eventually got to almost the last question in a
Oh
very
wow. Okay. So there was a flow state established there where it was just sort of flowing and you guys were in it. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yonita, I believe Merle was offensive and you escaped the room.
Yeah, she left me. So that's one of those patients that you're wondering about. Clients, sorry.
Yeah, let me teach you the professional word. It's a deferred patient. It's when you tell a
Deferred
patient something and they just run out the room. Suddenly they left something on the stove. And you cannot reach them anymore. There's one in every group. Yonita, there's one in
No,
every
I'll remember.
I'm so Janita, I'm so sorry.
No, not a problem. I thought something happened, so no, it's fine.
Something did. I still don't know what it was. I'm really sorry.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Kristen, well done on fixing your mic. That's awesome. And Nick, can I leave you to touch base with people here, and I'll just touch base with people in the room here?
Okay, no problem at all. All right, so we're back from doing our discussion. Let's quickly touch base on how it went. Shay, how was that for you?
It's very difficult. Michelle and I were actually just chatting about it at the end because, you know, with doing the practicals, you go in knowing what you want to give, so you just blurt out everything. So, you know, you get the information quite quickly. So it's very difficult face doing the practicals and, you know, being in a live situation. But it's very interesting to see how you would have to coach the information out.
Yeah, it is quite different in some respects in that you know you're going to have to give information. The other side of the coin is that when people arrive at a session, there is a social understanding or social learning that takes place where people know they will give some of the information also. So there is an element of that that is there. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's a lot easier in this type of setting where somebody's prepared to give you the information. 100%. Did you manage to get all the information you needed?
I got that Michelle she's pregnant with her 6th child and she's 37 years old. She does live in the area and her partner ran away from her.
Yeah, God, Michelle. Okay. All right.
She really stuck it to me.
Sorry?
She really stuck it to me tonight.
I was going to say
Okay, so
so much for confidentiality.
So Shay has just broken the first rule that we
Sorry,
discussed
Michelle.
before going into the session, which was that whatever remains in the session, whatever said in the session stays in the session. Yes, but no, thank you nonetheless for that. Okay. Mo, no, I've covered you. Lorette. Why do I feel like Lorette was the one that also didn't join in? Tristan, your mic is working. How was it for you?
Went really well. I ended up having to spend a little bit more time picking my mic than intended, but Samantha did she started with asking me all the questions, and she did a very, very good job. She explained to me the confidentiality as well as the counseling, that she's a professional counselor, but she doesn't offer the medical advice. And then she went about asking me the personal questions, which she did really well at. And then she asked me about what personal issues why did I come and see her. So the format of asking and making the questions quite natural made me feel quite comfortable as well. Like, yes, it was just getting to know each other and where we stand, but yeah, I felt quite comfortable.
Good. I'm glad, and that's the way it should be. Is that your comfort should start immediately, especially because you've worked yourself up to it. You've worked yourself up. What am I going to say? What are they going to ask me? Oh my God, what are they going to think about me? And the sooner you can get somebody comfortable in that space, the better it is. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, I'm back. So if we want to move on, we can.
Good.
Okay. Then, Nick, it's on you now. So I'm going to hand you over to Nick, who's going to take us through the Wheel of Life exercise.
Great.
Good. So
Perfect.
if you can find your Wheel of Life pages. People in my room, if you can focus.
All right. So
Far too
Jackie, if I
much
could
friendship
ask
going
you,
on here. Yeah.
we need to end it. We'll start sharing some scandalous secrets. Jackie, could you please share the form onto your screen
Sure.
from your laptop? I will
Yeah.
start with the Safari. Okay, great. So one thing that will set you apart.
I can't do that. I don't have it here.
Okay,
Like
no problem.
on
I've got it here. I just wanted to look at it. One thing that will set you apart as a counselor, play counselor, life coach in that position is having done a lot of the work yourself. By doing a lot of the work yourself, you understand what the expectation is that you are placing upon the person to do this work, bearing in mind their state. So a lot of the first section of the training was very much based on these are the skills you need to learn, this is the processes, this is how it looks, etc., etc. Now we're going more into how does it look in practice. There we are. Thank you. How does it look in practice? Okay, so we're going to do what I think is one of the most powerful activities for getting somebody into a good state of openness, and it's called the Wheel of Life. Can I just see, has anybody done a Wheel of Life activity before? If you can just thumbs up in the group. Kristen, I don't know if that's a yes or a no. It's a no.
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Perfect. Great. So the idea is this, right? Any car that moves, anything that needs a wheel that is balanced, needs a wheel that is rounded. And very often we seek to have high attainment in everything, but no balance. So this is from the more balanced school of intervention as such. And we're going to work through it. So in front of you, you have part one. And part one is quite simple. You're going to take out your coloring pens, your pencil, your highlighter, or anything. And you're going to look at each slice of the pizza as such, right? Each slice of the wheel. So let's do mental together, for example. All right. There's a scale 1 to 5. Right now, if you have to snapshot your life, 5 being I am fully mentally engaged, fully happy with that phase of my life, with that aspect of my life, right? 4, yeah, there's some things I could improve. 3, it's sort of 50-50. 2, not good at all. And 1 is I'm really struggling, right? It exists, but I'm struggling, right? So if you could color in, so let's say I was a 3, I would color in up to the slice of 3. So my slice would be that section that I'm demonstrating on the screen there. And I'll move on to familial. How's my family life at the moment? 1 to 5, how is it? And then jot it in there, right? There's no specific questions to ask. It's just as you perceive it, how is it now? Right. So could we do this activity together and then we can look more into it? Can I give you guys 5 minutes to do it? Is that good? Jackie, will that work for your people in person?
Perfect. 5 minutes, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good.
100%. And then I'll ask somebody to share it onto the screen with us.
Nick,
Yes.
please don't judge me, but what is vocalization?
Vocational. It's your work life.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Your work life, your calling life.
Thank you.
Nick,
Hello.
yes, are we allowed to combine, like if it's family and love life, can we put it together as one or do we need it to do it independently?
No, do it separately for me, please.
Okay.
Laura?
Sorry, Nick. The mental, does that refer to sort of stress levels or yeah, just what
It's
kind of things fall under that?
it's completely up to you. I will not translate it for you because that's part of where our discussion will be. Right, everyone. Are we done? If you need more time, just throw an emoji into the chat so I can see if you need more time. Okay, it seems like we're good to go. Jackie, are your people good to go?
We're all good here.
Okay, great. So what you have in front of you now would be a snapshot of the balance of your life. And there's a few principles that go into this, and this is a very powerful assessment tool that you can use as a coach. And let's work through it. So number one is most people are not struggling with a specific problem, but rather a problem of balance. All right, and we're going to explore a bit of how that works, and I'm going to give you some important questions that you can work through. So I want you to look at your wheel, and if you had to drive a car, would that car move? If that was the structure of your wheel, would that car be able to move forward? Right. If no, we have a balance problem. All right. So we're going to use one that's thrown up on the screen here, and let's take a look at what we have. Right. So this is the assessment process that you would go through with, as you reflect on it. You would say, okay, so currently you perceive yourself as family and social being relatively good, right? Vocational love life being very high. Financial, spiritual, and physical, though, seem to be struggling, and the worst of it is physical in your mind. All right. So one important question to ask there would be, right, how is this being low? How is your physical being low contributing to the high love life, the high vocational, and the fine familial and social? Right? Are you using the heightened points right there to make up for anything else that is missing? So is your vocational very high because you're focusing in a lot on your work and therefore ignoring your physical well-being? Should your physical well-being continue at a 2, will you be able to maintain your vocational and your love life? Right? So different therapists have different areas of life that they work on and that they prioritize. I like these areas. I would make some changes. It's one extra area. But what you're going to start doing now is analyzing this and making a free association to it. So it's quite easy to do once you start reasoning on it. So let's play around a bit with this one on in front of us. Samantha, would you unmute yourself and join me on this?
Sorry, I must unmute myself and do what?
Join me on this little exploration.
All right, here I am.
All right, okay. If you had to look at the screen now and you've never met this person, you don't know the person, what can you tell me about them?
I mean, it seems, oh, okay, just by what they're saying. I mean, so, okay, they're obviously exceptionally satisfied with their work life and their marriage, because I know that Tristan's married. Socially, he's got friends and he's satisfied with them and he has good relations with everyone in his family. And then when it comes to his financial, spiritual, and mental state, I mean, definitely there's aspects of all three of those aspects of his life that he's not satisfied with, that there's things that he obviously has to look at and see why he's given himself a 3. I suppose maybe looking at the pros and cons or the positives and the negatives there. If you're asking me from a coaching perspective, like how I would start to then engage him on these aspects. And then physical, I imagine then because I've seen Tristan and I think he physically looks great. So, I mean, I don't know. But maybe if I hadn't seen him, then it would be a different thing. So I don't know. He obviously doesn't have a very good self-image of himself. And then maybe that plays into the mental and the spiritual and possibly even the financial. I don't know. I don't know if I'm on the right track here, but
Yep, you're on the right track. You're doing very well. I, however, need to say, Tristan, I don't believe this is yours. Right?
No, it's not mine. It was,
Okay. Great. No, I'm just checking so we don't discuss you with you being right there. I prefer to not. Okay, great. So, right. Samantha did something amazing. She said, well, I can see he has false perceptions in the physical area. I can see that there's a lot of self-esteem issues there that we probably need to clarify. I can see some satisfaction, and I should question what in it we can work with. Okay, great. So let's say we are putting together an action plan with the person, right? Yunita, will you join me on this one? Great.
Okay.
Right. Where will they draw strength from? Where is it too much? Where can they draw strength from to balance out the physical?
Probably from the work situation.
From work and from their love life. So we could
And from
then,
the
if we are,
love life,
yeah, right. And then we start looking, and that's exactly it. So we look at this in terms of where are your resources, where mustn't I focus, where must I focus? So for example, if this person were in front of me, my recommendation wouldn't necessarily be, well, let's put together a fitness plan. Let's do something like this to focus in on the physical, because it's a low priority area for them at the moment. What I would try and do is reduce the focus and build the security in love life vocational. It's safe, it's good. And then engage with the mental, spiritual, financial, and lead into the physical. So it teaches you which resources you have. It teaches you where their end point is going to be, what they need to balance out the most. And it also teaches you your entry point. So you know very well that if you start with talking to them about their family and their family's perception of physical health and all of this and bring it back to family, they're probably going to take it much more seriously than mentally engaging them in some rhetoric. That happens. What's also quite important, is that the goal isn't, Snaz, I'll get you in one minute. The goal isn't to get everything very high, right? We don't want fives everywhere. That's not necessarily a practical goal to set. The goal we want to set here is that we have more balance, right? So one question that I would ask the client, and it's a question that's quite powerful in this regard, is in each area, physical, what's one thing that you could possibly do today, right, that can move that up by 0.5? What's the one step that you can take? What's the smallest step that you can take? With regards to love life, we would say, okay, can we connect your love life and your physical? All right. How can we connect those two? How can we get your partner more involved in your physical life so that these two balance out a little bit? Again, we sort of use free association with it. What's very helpful for people is to see their lives as a wheel, right? Because we are trained to highlight the best, reduce the worst. And overall, all of these areas of life impact each other very, very much. A very difficult question you can ask is, what is the benefit for your physical being so low? Why is it so low, and why do you keep it so low? What's the benefit? What are you gaining from having it so low that your subconscious mind is seeing more gain than loss in keeping it so low? Is it because you want to be approachable? Is it because you have related it to security? Whatever it may be, and start seeing it as, if you have created this, where do you fit in? And what is the subconscious drive there that keeps it going? Right. Also, when we look at the very high, right, what are the perceived drawbacks? What drawbacks could there be at having your love life very high and your family life very low? Right. Is there any drawbacks? What can we explore further in there? Right. Let's take a look. Snazzle, sorry, I said I'd come back to you.
No, Nick, you covered me in one of your responses there, so I'm sorted. Thank you.
Perfect, great. So let's see quickly. I have such a limited view of everybody who's in this class. Chipper, are you with us?
Hello.
Hi there, Chipper. Chipper, what does your wheel of life show? What came up for you in it?
The highs or everything? Can I just tell you everything?
Overall, yeah.
The highest of them is my familial, my social, and my spiritual, and then the ones that are like four and a bit, and threes are my my fours are my financials, 4.5 my love life, my physical is a 3.5 and my vocation is 4.5.
Okay, so when you look at your wheel, if I had to connect that wheel to a car, would the car move? Would it be bumpy or would it not be able to move?
It would be bumpy.
It would be bumpy. Okay, great. And that's a positive that you can bring out to a client in that case. Is where you'd say, listen, you seem quite balanced. There's small little tweaks we can do, but overall, you seem to be on the right track. Now let's go and work more detail into each of these. So with a client like that, you could do very small steps in each area overall without necessarily connecting all of them through. And they would probably respond very well to very, very small steps, because when she described it, for example, she was like, it's a 4.2, it's a 3.1, right? So she wants very small workable steps. Thank you so much for that, Chipper.
Okay, thank you.
Pepua Tulo.
Hello, Nick.
Hi there. All right. How does your wheel look? First, give me the overall view. When you look at your wheel, how does it look? Does it look balanced? Does it look like it's going to be an easy ride, a rough ride, or no ride?
Very rough ride.
All right. All right.
It's not balanced at all.
Sorry?
No, it's not balanced.
Not balanced at all, or is there some balance, Martin?
Yes, so I must go through it.
Yep, give it to me. Let's take a look at it.
So my physical is at 5, and my love life at 5, but social, spiritual, and family are at 4.
Okay.
And financial is at 1, and also the vocational is at 1. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Can I assume you are relatively unhappy with your work?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough, right? So, Snazo, you asked a good question. I'll come back to that. Okay, so as you can see there's a very clear gap that's missing there in this demonstration, in their wheel. And this wheel would probably have a lot of startup problems. You know, it would be very, very difficult to get this wheel moving. So tell me, which were your highest again? It was the first two that you mentioned.
The first? Sorry?
The first two that you mentioned that were at 5.
Is love life and physical.
Love life and physical. Okay. Tell me about the work that you do.
I mean logistics.
Okay. All right. And what is making you unhappy? You can make it up. If you want to make it up, you don't have to be your whole heart in the session.
It's I don't know. I think it's mostly a male dominated right now. It's in we work with trucks, so I'm in that space, and I'm thinking maybe I'm undermined, kind of, because of the woman, or yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. How long have you been in this space?
Not long. Not long. About 6 months. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're new to a space, you're feeling quite undermined, you feel that there's a gender bias at play here, right? And this is making you feel a bit off balance in that respect of your life, right? Does
Yes.
this affect other aspects of your life?
Yes, financial.
Why?
Because I don't get paid in time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm always behind with my own things.
Is this related to, do you believe it's related to the gender biases that exist? Or is it a separate thing completely?
Now it's getting difficult. I think it is still related to gender because other people are getting paid in time that I
Okay.
work with. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you two questions in rapid succession, right? And then I'll move on. Number one is, why are you still there? And question two that I'm going to ask you is, what's one step you can take today or tomorrow that will start a process of change? Won't change it, but will start the process. What's one step you can do?
I'm still there because I'm giving it a chance. I feel it's still early to give up. So yeah. What steps? What's the second question again?
What's the one step you can do in the next day that would start the process of change?
I think I must set boundaries.
Can you give me an example?
Or have a clear line of authority within my business.
All right.
Like maybe have somebody that also can communicate with them besides me.
Okay. Now let's look at the rest of your circles, the rest of your pie. If you're looking for somebody to back you up and support you, right? Which are the strongest areas there that you can pull support from?
I can pull it from family.
Okay. And how will you do that?
I can get my husband to be involved.
Yeah. So you can, maybe the first step you can do is to explain to your husband that you need his support because you've chosen to stay at this work and you want to see it out, but you would like his support in backing you up and being a voice that you can, a person that you can, you know, speak to about these concerns and probably advise you on how to handle a male-dominated field as such.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Of course, male would understand male. I'm making the assumption.
Yes.
All right. Perfect. Right. So what you saw there is we zoned in on one thing. We came up with a quick win, and that's a very important therapeutic principle. The principle of a quick win, right?
Okay.
When you're learning a language, you will never learn the language if you have a listening test and a dictation test the day after you've started. What you want to do is you want to learn some words and get it right. And then suddenly you want to learn more. But if it's taking you 3 or 6 months to learn a word, the chances that you're going to finish are quite slim, right? There's a wonderful study, it's a behavioral science study. And what they discovered was if somebody goes to a casino and gambles and they win, even if they only win 10 Rand on their first gamble, they have a 80 to 95, I think, % chance of continuing to gamble over and over and over again, regardless of the loss that they may face, right? What does this mean, right? For us in this field, it means that if you can guide your client using this, a visual cue to a first quick and easy win, speak to your husband, get his support. It's something they can do. It's something that will immediately pay off because it's one of their highest values and their highest aspects of life. The chances that they're willing to go in deeper and explore more uncomfortable things and be willing to open up more is much higher than if I had said, you know what you should do? I think we should write a letter together to your managers and express your thoughts. Right? 100%. So thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. So what we're going to do, and Snazo asked the right question. So we use it as a diagnostic tool, but also as a continuous check-in tool. Right? So every now and then I would send it to a client and say, just complete it. I want to see where we are, if there's any changes, so that we can just work on it and make sure everything is still right and everything is still moving on. So we'd use it as both of them. Does a good conversation starter because it gets people to open up and look at their lives critically, which is what you want. But it's also good for us to keep track of where everybody is. All right. Did you notice that there was a pause when I said, why are you keeping it like this? Why are you there? But also, what is one thing you can do today to change it? And suddenly it was the executive center kicking in and the thinking started like, wait a second, there is something, there must be something. He's asking me for something, I must find something. And then at the end of that short discussion, she said, oh yeah, I could probably speak. You know, her voice sort of indicated that, yeah, that does make some sense to be able to do that. And suddenly this big problem was reduced. What's very important is to ask, what is one thing in each area of life that we can set to work towards? All right. What is something in each area of life that we can set to work towards, drawing from the strongest areas? Okay. Are there any questions on this wheel? I think it's relatively quite simple and it gives you a good flash view of your life. Snazo?
Thanks, Nick. I'm just checking here. So when given response to the client, to call them the client, yes, the client, do we give, I don't know which one is the right word, but when you responded to the last speaker's wish, no, when she mentioned how she could solve the problem or how she could, yeah, something along those lines, then she said she could bring in her husband. Is that a permanent solution to the problem she's faced with, or is it just to make things look as though they're getting better? Is that the type of advice we expect to give, or do we just brush it off that the husband will take care? Should the husband leave, she's gonna go back almost stay at home? Thank you.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you ask a very good question there. So we're going for a quick win, like something that is reachable. Right? This is by no means the permanent solution. It is a step towards the right direction. All right? So we're not giving the appearance that it will solve. And we'll never say, what's the one thing that could change this whole thing and look, the problem is solved. Not at all. We are saying, take one step. Let's reinforce that step. Let's make that first step super easy. Let's win at the first gamble we throw. Right? So that we start building in the idea of success and then move on to the next. There's no way that we are going to ever get a permanent solution from the wheel. Neither, and to be completely blunt, are you going to possibly get a permanent solution within the therapeutic setting. Right? It takes years at times to get to that permanent solution, and you do not know what it is, and the person doesn't know what it is. But we do not know what the result of that one step might be. That one step could bolster her confidence. It could make her feel less frustrated. It could also get her having important discussions with her husband that she can then grow more financial independence from. She could be exploring more things. And that is what we need. We need that quick, easy first step as such. And this wheel does that. So it's not at all painting the impression that this is permanent, but that's a very good question. Thank you, Snazo. Any other feedback on the wheel? Jackie.
We just have a question from the floor. Give me one sec. Yeah.
So if everything was at 2, that would be a good thing. It doesn't feel like it.
Okay. So the question here, Nick, is you said that the goal is for things to be balanced, not necessarily for everything to be at 5. The question here is, well, if everything's at like 2, that doesn't feel like a win. That feels like it should be higher than that.
Okay, why does it feel like it should be higher than that?
Out of 5, it doesn't.
2 out of 5 just feels. Surely that's not what the goal is.
It feels terrible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the goal of this exercise is to have balance primarily, right? If your wheel is all 2 out of 5, you can have movement, right? Then all I have to do is make small changes simultaneously in each area of life. Then I can look at a care plan. I can look at a lifestyle change plan. Generally, that would indicate lifestyle change. And I wouldn't be looking for a dominoes piece on which to work, right? Generally, if your whole life is balanced at a very low level, right, everything is a 2, you'd be looking at something like a depressive personality, or maybe somebody who is more cynical to it. But research has also shown that we value balance over success in one area over the other. All right, so I'm going to repeat that. We value balance more than overwhelming success and lower success in the other. So we value balance over imbalance as such. So we will constantly be drawn towards balance. An easy way to see this is we have a self-balancing mechanism in how we talk, how we communicate with people, and how the world interacts with us. We're constantly coming back to balance. So you have had a great day at work, you're feeling on top of the world, you're really good to go, everything's been working for you, lovely, you're feeling like you own the world. And you get home and your partner is there and they're probably going to tell you some terrible things, right? You didn't do this, you didn't do that, you've missed something, or can't believe you forgot the kids at school. Something like that will balance. And very often you'll find it, right? Another balancing element that comes into mind is if I say, wow, you are the most amazing person I have ever met, right? You're so great, so kind, so lovely. Automatically your brain balances it out by telling me everything that it's not, right? By telling you, no, it's not actually true, right? So we naturally seek balance. Balance is the starting point for growth. So you'd rather have balance and then work on each area of life. There's still work that can be done, rather than saying, oh my, you're low on everything. Where do we start? We can start anyway, because you already have the momentum through balance. You're not fighting your subconscious into getting into balance, right? If somebody, for example, has a 1 for one of the areas and 2 or 3 5s or 1 5 in another one, I guarantee that there's internal conflict that you will be dealing with. All right. Maybe I could explore that. Let's see. Does anybody here have a very unbalanced wheel that they would like to discuss with me? I mean, it's a terrible question to ask to out yourself, but it's worth a shot. Okay, no, let's do it differently. Okay, what am I looking at? Let's see. Yeah, a bit rocky. Okay, so who's this that I can speak to?
It's me.
All right, Tristan, let's look at this quickly. Tristan, how would you describe your family?
Family, I would say, is quite good. We see each other often. Luckily, we all live near one another. But yeah, we could always spend a little bit more time together.
Okay, and it's quite balanced, quite easygoing. You guys understand and love each other. all of that.
Yeah.
Right. Are conflicts dealt with quite easily in your family?
They are. Well, sometimes we hop around certain issues, but usually we join together and chat. But yeah, we don't always get to the crux of the issue.
Okay. And then your love life. What have you used to define your love life? Is it a romantic other?
Yeah. So well, just recently got married, so we're still very much in the honeymoon phase and enjoying the the newlywed life.
Okay, the newlywed life. So you guys are freshly then. Am I correct in
Yeah.
saying that? Well, no. You tell me. How is conflict managed within your love life?
Well, with my wife, we discuss it quite at length, and we usually get to the crux of the issue and discuss the issue at hand, and yeah, work towards finding a solution together.
Okay, and he takes the lead in those discussions.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's quite equal. If for example I have an issue, I will take the lead, but then obviously the opposite can be true. If she has an issue, then she'll take the lead, and then she directs me in her feelings and vice versa.
Okay, that sounds very optimal, and it sounds lovely. How much volatility is there?
Not too much. Not in terms of the love life, no.
Okay, so you guys have found all your boundaries quite easily. You've just delved completely into it. You're on the way and you're moving.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, how much impact does it have when you guys have a conflict?
It doesn't have much. Well, again, we don't scream and shout at each other. Usually, if there is an issue that needs to be discussed, then we do. We bring it to each other, and then we have a decent conversation about why it's bothering us, and we don't go and scream at each other. In other words,
No, of course. But how much does it affect you? When your wife is upset with you, how much does it affect you?
Oh, it affects me quite badly. If she's upset with something, then I take it to heart, and I really like try and work on it, or vice versa.
Okay, and then let's quickly jump to your spiritual and social. All right, you've put them down halfway through between the two, right? How volatile is your social life?
It can be quite, because I've got only a number of friends, and I don't often see them. So it can be a little bit volatile, and because we don't often see them, it can cause a little bit of conflict when, for example, I do see them, then they're like, "Oh, here's like, hello, stranger," kind of thing.
Okay, and how do you respond to that?
I take it in my stride. I joke around with it, and I joke around with them, and then just kind of like brush it off instead of talking to them about it.
Okay, do you think your marriage is costing you your friendship?
No, I think it's more work actually.
Okay, interesting. Tell me, how is your work costing your friendship? How's your work and marriage rate? Because I see they're both rated quite high.
Yeah. So with work, there's always a lot of work. There's constant work. So when I do have a little bit of free time, then I spend it with my wife or family. So because of the massive amount of work, I have to kind of like spend my free time with my wife or with family.
Okay. How could your wife assist you with the physical? Well, apart from the obvious, how could she assist you with your physical development?
So I was having a think about it earlier, and something that we could do together would be go for walks or runs in the afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly exercise together. Just do half an hour exercise.
Okay. Can I ask you a relatively personal question? You don't have to answer it right now, but I'll leave you with it. To ask it is, are you finding yourself in a position where your marriage has become the safe space to avoid social, spiritual, and physical stress? Don't have to answer it at all. The reason I'm asking for it is this, right? When you look at, sorry, Tristan, you're going to be right here on my screen. When you look at Tristan and you look at his physical, his spiritual, social, financial, right? They're all, well, the spiritual, financial, social, spiritual are balanced. The physical is very unbalanced. And did you see that as soon as I said, you know, like as soon as we went into it more and more, the goaling on it was relatively unclear, very vague. We could exercise, we could go for some walks. It does become quite vague in there. So one thing we would do there is we would explore, right, what is the marriage perception? What is the perception of this couple towards physical, towards spiritual, towards social? And how are they setting goals towards it? Because this tells me of a developmental stage within a relationship where we are working out where we fit in and how we champion each other. We're going to go into a bit of a practical on this because I can't be analyzing and assessing the whole time, right? Because this is your practice. Jackie, are you good with splitting us into groups of 2? And this is what you're going to do with the other person, right? You're going to ask the person, so the coach is going to ask the person, what does your life wheel show? What can you see from it? Just overall, right? Why is it like that? And then which area do you think is the dominoes area that would change all the other areas and lift them up a little bit? And finally, what one step can you take? So it's 4 or 5 questions you need to ask. And you're having this discussion where you're brainstorming along with them. I want you to bear in mind, you're listening, you're defining the problem like we did last week, you're defining the issue that they present, right? Clearly, you're selling it back to them. You're asking the whys, and then you're working out the action plan. Does that make sense, Jackie? Do you think that's doable, or has it become a bit twisted in counseling?
No, I think that's fine. Does everybody understand? Does anyone have questions? I'll talk to the people here. Anyone struggling online to understand what we're going to be doing? I mean, you've just seen Nick do it. You're basically going to be doing that. Moira? You still muted?
Nick, sorry, could you just go over those 5 questions again?
Yeah, I'm glad you think I could remember them in that same order. Let's see if we can. All right, so you're going to first ask, right, what is the overall perception? What do you see when you see a wheel? Right? Which of these slices is the most crucial one that you think we could work on to just lift a little bit to meet the others? How can any of these other slices support us in that goal? How can the strong ones support us in that goal? Right? Why is it this way? Why is your physical so low? Why is your mental so low? Why? What's the core issue there? Right? And then where's your support coming from? And how can we move in each area one step forward? You're going to use the 5 Ds. Define. What's in the 5 Ds? Yes, you're going to define the problem. You're going to listen to the problem. You're going to define it, throw it back at them, reflect with them, and work out something that can be done in the next day to change it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Great. I'm going to try and pop in and out of rooms as you guys do, just so I can drop in on the conversation and see how you guys are going.
How long, Nick? Do you want them in the room?
You know what? I want it to be a decent discussion between two people. So could we give them each 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes? Because I actually want people to start engaging with the setting as such.
I'm just aware of our time.
Oh, yes. Oh, my word. Okay.
Can we give them like 15 minutes in total, and then they split that between themselves?
Yep. Fight over it. 100%. Fight it to the death. Okay. The survivors can come back.
Okay.
Great.
I'll do that then.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you. Well, here we go. Okay. If you're going to do all this, oh.
Jackie,
Hi.
could you make me co-host so I can drop into rooms?
Sure. Sorry. Let me do that right now.
One job. Thank
Done?
you.
Loretta, you still with us?
Yes, Jackie.
Shame, are you coping?
Yes.
Okay. If you do need to ditch and run, you're very welcome to, if it's been a lot.
Thank you. Thanks,
Okay,
Jackie. It was good listening in. Lots of love.
Okay, lots of love. I hope it was helpful to listen, hey?
It was. I think it was very helpful to listen. I'm so glad you let me listen.
Okay, I'm
Thank
grateful.
you.
Okay, cheers, bye.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Hey, Nick.
Hello?
Will you take just 5 minutes to, are you going to take 5 minutes to touch in with everybody? And then I'll close for tonight.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay. Is everybody back?
No, they're not. It's ending in 1 minute. So I thought I'd talk to you first.
Oh, okay, great. I'm just going to let everybody wrap it up, take a breath, reset, and we go. I won't even do a lot of feedback. Actually, I won't do anything.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're all coming back. Oh. Okay, great. I am very aware of the time, and therefore we won't do a lot of feedback back on this. I want to highlight a few. Okay, I want to highlight a few things. Number one, did you notice how the more you broke down each step and the more you allowed a person to reflect, the more of an authentic story you started getting, the more realistic they started becoming, and also the more clear the perceived problem gets. Did you notice that looking overall at your life very quickly helps you identify which areas you can work in and how to do it, and with the right questions, you get somewhere? I'm not going to reflect much more on that because I know we need to end now. One last question in preparation for a very important workshop that I would like to do is this. Has anybody here come across a values determination activity or the values determination worksheet? Has anybody done any of the like the Martini work or something of that? If you can just indicate with an emoji. No? Great. Okay, so next week I will again put a worksheet on for you and we'll discuss it through next week. And we're going to do another assessment tool which works in line with the Wheel of Life. And we're going to combine two. So keep your Wheel of Life, please. And then I'm going to show you the next assessment tool, which is sort of a powerful tool to work through resistance and quickly solve problems through a person-centered approach. So I think that's going to be the focus. That's me. I'm not going to do much more than that because of time for now. So Jackie, I'm going to hand over to you.
Cool. Thanks, Nick. Thank you for taking us through all of that. Does anyone have any questions? Are you good? Next week is our last teaching. Can you believe it? I know, Sam. Any questions? Is everyone fine? Michelle? No, she just left the meeting. Too terrifying to speak. Anyone else? People here want to go to bed. Okay. Just as Nick was saying, we will have a day workshop in January. We will finalize that date and let you know. It will be a Saturday. And we will have that day as well, which will be great to actually work together in person. And I think that's it. I'm going to close in prayer and then we'll say goodbye. Let's pray. So, Father God, we thank you that you've been with us here this evening. We thank you that you have shown us a picture of ourselves that perhaps we haven't seen before. I pray for all the conversations that have happened tonight, that they'll be of benefit and that they'll help move us forward. And Father, as we start to think through these assessments and think through initial meetings with clients or with young pregnant ladies, we just pray that you will guide us. You will give us clarity, give us courage, that you will direct our steps and our thoughts. Thank you for being with us. For those who are traveling home from here, help them get home safely. In Jesus' name. Amen. If you're on screen, switch on your camera so I can say goodbye to you, and have a lovely evening. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
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 Bye. Goodbye, gorgeous. I see you there.
Jackie, you know what I was
Yes.
thinking? Because when we're learning these concepts, it was quite okay. Londi will not sleep until the end of the session. It was hard to read the pregnancy center notes concurrently with because they were all new. But I'm wondering, after everything, can we not then have a workshop specifically on the pregnancy center?
Oh, we will. We will.
Because
We
then
absolutely.
that will join everything nicely together, Now that we have the basics, now we can take on more information. I think so.
Yes, no. We absolutely will. I've even got a gynecologist lined up to come and talk to us about the biology of it. So we actually know what we'll be counseling. We can ask that. That will be a separate workshop. The first workshop will literally be a bringing together of all of this for everybody. And then we'll have a separate workshop for all those who are wanting to be pregnancy counselors specifically. And that's where we'll get personal.
Okay. No, good to be loved. We're going to be empowered, I guess, eh? We're going to be so good at this, eh?
Michelle, none of your people came tonight. Are they all okay?
I'm going to check on everyone. I haven't heard from them. So I thought, let me just call everyone after the session and check what's going on. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good. Okay. Lots of love.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye. Just hang on. I'm just